What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine evening?
I'm excited for the viewers, because if you're a listener, you might not notice much that's different, but if you're a viewer, you're going to see me and Jarrett go through a magical outfit transformation.
Ooh, that's right.
About 1/16 of the way through the episode.
We're having to do that because we are doing a little bit back behind the scenes shuffling around, because this episode where Mogan's giving her first impressions of Mina the Hollower, we also recorded our reactions to the Sony State of Play. But now time's passed and the other showcases from the Summer Games Fest non-E3 week stuff has come out. So we wanted to pull the Sony thing from that and just have the Mina the Hollower as its own special episode. So with that, we're pretty much just going to do our little spiel intro here, then we're going to jump right into the meat of the first impressions of Mina the Hollower. So, where can you listen to this great show of ours? Well, you can listen to it on podcast services such as Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and others. You can also watch a video version of each episode over on our YouTube channel. Links for all that are in the description below, where you'll also find links for our Discord server, as well as the social media where we're honestly not that active on, but Discord is the place to be if you want to hang out with us when we're not here recording the show. And, you'll also see a link to our merch store where you can get some Team Chat Podcast shirts, hats. I think there's like mugs, stickers, other goodies like that. So check that out if you want. And you can also support the show over on Patreon, where, yes, of course, there is a link below, where you can, for as little as $1 a month, support the show. And in return, we'll give you cool perks like getting the episodes early before their general release, access to a private channel on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery, as well as a special patron exclusive show, Team Chit Chat, that is kind of the pre-show recording and stuff like that Mogan and I do before launching into the actual recording of each episode, where you get a little bit more behind the scenes look at what we talk about, things going on in our lives, because we have like some prepared talking points every once in a while, but for the most part it's some little bit of chit-chat.
We like to shoot from the hip.
That's right. Anyway, start a blast.
We just start blast.
So, you can check all that over on patreon.com, where you will join the ranks of some really cool folks such as Allison H, Fuchsia, Ark, Brandon W, Bro Mogan, Ace Jokai, Erica L, Michael B, Michael S, Snooty Boots, and Zach S. But if you can't support us over on Patreon, we totally understand. There are a lot of free ways that you can support the show, such as subscribing wherever you're listening to or watching the show, as well as, following us on the social media channels, Discord, commenting wherever you're listening to or watching the show, and of course, telling your friends. All of that helps get the good word of Team Chat Podcast out to the masses, and for that, we are eternally grateful and love each and every single one of our viewers, listeners, and patrons alike. Heart emoji.
Heart emoji, XOXO.
All right, so we're not going to really, because we don't really sure. The news is all of the E3 or the non-E3 things, which we will be hearing about in another episode. So we're not really going to jump into the moment with Mogan. Instead, we're going to jump right in to Mogan's incredible first impressions of Mina the Hollower.
Game hard.
So for our main topic of the day, we have a first impressions of a new game that's coming out and honestly taking the indie game world at least by storm, but also it seems like the game world in general by storm, Mina the Hollower.
I'm not sure I would go so far as to say it's taken the game world by storm, but it is doing quite well.
It was one of the first, I don't know where it's standing yet in your final review or anything like that, but it was like one of the first games I feel like of this year that I've seen be a 10 of 10 from like IGN and a couple other venues.
And notably, I think Game Informer just published today that Mina the Hollower has sold 300,000 copies in its first 3 days, which is, I'm sure, fantastic news for developer Yacht Club. So if you're not familiar with Yacht Club, you might still know them from the Shovel Knight series.
That's right. I knew I recognized that game, and I know we've talked about this, but I completely forgot.
No, that's right. So Mina the Hollower is the new game from the Shovel Knight crew. Shovel Knight it's not an old game by any means now, unless you're a Gen Alpha kid, in which case it is. But if you're not, then it's only mildly old.
10 years.
That's not that old, bro. It's not that old.
Retro game by retro game standards.
But it was always a retro-styled game. Yes. So if you're unfamiliar with the fine work that the folks at Yacht Club do, they are masters of the craft at modern retro-inspired games. And Shovel Knight was very much a sort of rendition of the traditional Castlevania / Metroidvania kind of game where it was very combat-focused, 2D side-scrolling, beautiful pixel art, all that good stuff. Mina the Hollower is similar in some ways and vastly different in others. In terms of its styling, it is very much one of those retro-inspired modern games. But unlike the Shovel Knight series, which was very much a Metroidvania, Castlevania kind of style 2D side-scrolling game with beautiful pixel art, Mina the Hollower is it's even more of a retro throwback, because where the pixel art for Shovel Knight was very like beautiful and sleek and modern in a lot of ways, Mina the Hollower actually looks like it could have been released on the Game Boy Color today.
No, really?
Yeah, no,
I have not seen any screenshots.
When you actually play the game, it looks like that. Like maybe Game Boy Advance. I'll give you Game Boy Advance, but Nines in the Discord, who has written a really good review of the game, not a review of the game, a first impressions of the game that I will share some of at the end of my first impressions. He described it as being, in his mind, adjacent to the Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, Legend of Zelda games from the Game Boy era, right? Yeah, look at the actual gameplay.
Holy shit, that's cool.
So if you just see the box art or the cover title or anything like that, and some of the cutscenes in the game are really, really beautifully done, it looks, kind of like very modern in certain ways. And then you get into the gameplay and it's like, oh my god, I'm really having to squint.
What was the Zelda that was just remade? That they just did the like top-down
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening. It looks like that, the original, not the remake.
Yes, the original. That's exactly what I thought.
It looks like that. That is totally really fucking cool.
So if you think about the early days of like The Legend of Zelda, for example, this game is being compared to very lovingly as like being a love child between the early Legend of Zelda games and your Soulsborns, your Dark Souls, your Blood Souls, your Bloodborns, your Born Souls. You get the idea. Because it's very much the one thing it has that well, actually, that's not true. Zelda 1, Zelda number 1 absolutely had really, really hard difficulty, especially if you were a child at the time that you played it. Mina the Hollower is similar to that in that it is a very... honestly, game hard.
Is it?
Game is difficult.
Like it's to me what Silksong is. Like, or to you, it is what Silksong is to me.
it's to me what Silksong is to me.
Oh, okay.
It's hard. Like, it actually is quite difficult. Okay. Especially in the early game, not unlike Silksong. In fact, very similar to that. The earliest parts of the game, at least for me, have felt the most difficult because you have like no kit, you have no abilities, you have no weapons, your trinkets, which are like your sort of bonus equipment items. You don't have none of those. It's your one weapon, and then if you're lucky, you find a sidearm out in the wild. So let's talk about sort of the setup of the game a little bit more. Okay. This is not going to be very spoiler heavy, also because in similar fashion to the way Game Boy Advance games were, not exactly...
Not much to it.
Not a lot of story. Not a lot of story to speak of. Yet. There's not a lot of story to speak of yet. So you are the character Mina the Hollower. She is an adorable mouse woman who you gather from an introductory letter between her and a friend, the Baron Lionel. She is being summoned to the series of islands that I think he sort of oversees as like his miniature kingdom, empire, if you want to call it, because you gather that in the past, Mina made for the Baron these like orb thingies, these like energy orbs that I think are maybe a source of power for the islands, or they like do something regulatory. I was really not clear on what they do, but the point is they're busted, they're broken, they're on the fritz, and the Baron has to summon Mina to come back to him to help fix them. So she's going back to see her friends at... Okay. She is going back to see her friends, her friends and allies at the, I'm not going to remember what they're called, the something islands, the something sea, I don't remember what it's called, my bad. Jared will look it up.
It's harder. Oh, okay.
While I'm talking about it.
That's true.
But anyway, so on your way back to the islands, which you are having to do on a seafaring trip, your boat is attacked by a kraken. Oh. And basically everyone on board is killed, except for like Mina and maybe one or two other characters, like the captain, I think, makes it ashore, but their ship actually crash lands on the primary island. So Mina has to battle her way into the city, because what you gather along the way is that the city is under attack by a rebel group that is trying to break away from and overthrow the Baron. So you fight your way back into the city, everything's on fire, it's very doom and gloom, and then you get to the city and you help the Baron sort of restore order, at least in the city center. that's the setup. You've gotten to these islands. There's stuff that you have to fix. These orbs are spread out around these 4 corners of the islands, more or less, and Mina is going to have to go to each one of them. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 of them, each one of them, and fix them. I have not gotten far enough to know what fixing any of them entails because I keep dying because game hard.
Game is hard.
So the combat then is you know how in the early Legend of Zelda games, if your sword was at full power, it would fling out a little energy beam, and you could kind of do a little bit of ranged damage to enemies? Mina's primary weapon, which is a choice, not definitely something that you will get. Mina's primary weapon, the mace, which is the one that is in the trailers, which is why I call it her primary weapon, and that's also the weapon that I chose as her starter, is kind of like that, in terms of you can get out like a sort of ranged hit of like maybe 2 to 3 squares away, but some enemies are aerial, some are on the ground, and very much unlike the Legend of Zelda games, except the Techites, everything is so mobile. Enemies are moving and shaking, like they'll be coming at you from one specific path, and again, it's like a top-down sort of isometric view of the map, so you don't have a ton of 3D movement, like it's very much on a flat plane, but they're coming at you, and then as soon as you go to hit them, they've moved out of the way. So like you really,
so you gotta really...
It's like Silk Song, in that things are constantly moving out of your range as soon as you get up on them.
Isn't that fun?
So the window, like the window of being able to actually land a hit on the hitbox without leaving yourself open to damage is so slim. Is so slim and unforgiving.
Yeah, it sounds like it. How, like on average, how many hits till you die?
Before you get any upgrades, I would say that Mina tends to die in 3 to 4 hits.
Damn.
Not a ton.
Not a ton of health.
I mean,
at all.
honestly, about as bad as Silk Song was.
Yeah, that's
now,
pretty much.
you can start upgrading your health and some of your other stuff pretty early on because, like the Soulsborns of the world, Mina the Hollower has a souls system. Big air quotes on the souls. The game calls it bones. That's so different, guys. Bones is so different from souls. It's completely legally distinct. Don't worry about anything else. So you collect bones throughout the game, which are your currency. They are also what you lose if you die. And then your spark, because it's not your soul, it's legally distinct. It's your spark, guys. It's different. And Mina's spark will, like, if you died from an environmental hazard, her spark will just sort of be floating in the environment, and you have to go back and get it. If you died to an enemy, your spark will be absorbed by that enemy, and then you have to fight your way back to them and kill them to get your spark back.
Okay.
Dastardly, absolutely dastardly. In some ways, like, more difficult than Silk Song.
That's kind of like Jedi Survivor, actually.
Oh, cool. So you get to, you basically, you know the drill. There are checkpoints, you die, your soul goes away, you lose all your bones, you go back to the checkpoint, you have to fight your way back to your soul, your spark, recover all your bones. If you don't, if you die between that recovery process, you lose it all, and you have to start over from scratch. And the game is, I'll honestly say I'm maybe 6 to 9 hours into the game. It's probably 9, but progress-wise, it's 6, again, because I keep dying so much.
It happens.
I will say that the game is not particularly stingy on its currency. Bones are everywhere. You can get them just by going, like, into the ground. You can get them from enemies. There are chests all over the place. Sometimes they're just floating in the air, and you have to jump to get them. So bones are pretty plentiful, as long as you can hang on to them long enough to save them up without dying twice in a row to be able to spend them. Boy, okay, so what do we talk about as far as the kit goes? So you have the option at the very beginning of choosing one of 3 weapons to start with. There's the mace, there's the twin daggers, which have no range. I believe that's the weapon that Nines chose, so he's been having a little bit of trouble closing the distance with enemies.
Are you stuck to that?
I'll talk about it.
Okay.
So you've got the mace, you've got the twin daggers, and then you've got the hammer. Now, the first weapon that you choose is going to be the one that you're stuck with for a while.
Oh, okay.
But you do eventually have the ability to unlock the other weapons. Either you can buy them from blacksmiths around town, or you can actually find them out and about in the world, like if you explore enough and you find other shopkeepers that aren't in that main city center. So you've got your primary weapon, and then also you've got a whole host of what the game calls sidearms. These are basically your alt fire, right?
Yeah.
So you can get like a sword that you can throw out and it'll sort of boomerang back to you. There's a big throwing axe that goes a long distance and then does a little explosion. There's a parasol so that you can cover bigger gaps that Mina can't normally jump across. And all kinds of other stuff. One of her most basic sidearms, which I originally poo-pooed because it didn't seem that fancy, is just the Hollower stones. It's literally just rocks. But fun fact about the rocks, they bounce, and they bounce back. So like if
boomerang rocks.
They're boomerang box. So like if you know that you need to jump into a pit, but the pit is full of enemies, you can toss out a bunch of rocks. They'll go down in there and kind of bounce all around and do a bunch of damage to the enemies before you get down there. So don't sleep on the rocks. The rocks are actually pretty good. So you've got sidearms, which you are not you don't innately have those on you at all times. You find them in the environment. So you either get them from other enemies as drops, or you find them in like chests or just sort of random places all around. And you can switch out your sidearm whenever you find a new one, but you can only ever have one equipped at a time, which is part of the difficulty. The difficulty of it. As far as your movement goes, Mina's movement is pretty limited at first. You really only have her ability to do damage and a jump. Like you've got a very slow, she's not very fast on her own, like a pretty slow movement speed, a jump, but then the game introduces you to her Hollower mechanic, which is her ability as a mouse is that she can burrow under the ground for a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
And when you're burrowing, she's significantly faster. So like if you burrow out of the way of an enemy and get under them before they can do you damage, that's how you get a lot of your faster dodges. I will say that I am ferociously struggling with timing the dodge right, because she doesn't instantly go into the ground.
Right, she has to like do a little dig animation.
She does a bit of a jump and then goes into the ground, and you are really vulnerable to damage in that little fraction of a second of animation that happens there. So if you don't time the enemy's attack right, you're just going to get hit, and then you're not even going to be in the ground, and they're going to get you on the follow-up.
So if you're, that does sound difficult, because it's not like you're trying to time the parry. It's like there's more to it than that. So
I'm not even sure if Mina can parry.
Are you able? I just meant more of like the defensive mechanism. But is do you have like a set distance you can go underground, or is it unlimited? Great
question. You do have a set distance that you can go. I would say when Mina gets underground, unless there is something in the environment that keeps her there, like a tunnel or like a sewer grate, because like you're going under the city sewers, unless there's something blocking her from exiting, she has to come back out. I want to say, like, in terms of the game's distance, maybe 3 squares. Like maybe you get 3 to 4 squares of distance, and then she has to come back out. Another fun thing about that is when she exits the ground, she gets more velocity on that jump than she normally gets.
So you can use it to like cross big gaps.
Exactly.
Different stuff like that.
How do you cross bigger gaps? Because normally her jump will only get her across 1 square of the game, so it's a really limited jump. But if you exit one of her burrows, you can get over 2 squares. And then if you exit one of the burrows and also have the parasol, you can get over 3 squares.
Okay, glide?
So you can do a little bit of a glide. So the game really starts to open up once you get out of the main city center. Like the fight into the city center is going to be pretty tough, and then your initial forays into the world are also going to be quite hard because you're not really going to have anything yet. But as soon as you get to the point that you start unlocking more of the sidearms, that you start unlocking more of the trinkets, so like the optional equipment that you can put on her that like helps mitigate fire damage. There's one that gives her the ability to move faster after you land a successful hit on enemies. There's all kinds of stuff you can mix and match there. You really start to open up a lot of different options for both the combat and the movement that comes along with it. I will say, though, that this is the point that I know the game would absolutely lose you. There are no firm objectives.
So you're just like going around exploring, trying to find the correct path.
And there is no map. 2 things that I think are Jarrett game killers.
Okay, but that also does sound very much Bloodborne, though.
So remember that bush you got stuck behind? In Dark Souls?
Oh, yeah. I think so.
You got stuck somewhere at like the very first part of the game. It's like that.
Yeah,
like
so
I feel like you're going to get immediately
lost. Yeah, because I mean, even Bloodborne, had I not had people watching me in stream, I would like after you get through the initial early parts when you start getting to more like the Enchanted Forest, I would have been lost there for days.
So basically, the game opens up, and once you get to the city center, it just tells you, hey, the orbs that you're looking to fix, they are in these 5 to 6 corners of the world. Go find them. And you have no real limits on which one you go for first.
Yeah.
Because the game has like basically built-in stop gaps, I want to say, like little blockers, little obstacles of just locked paths that you have to use keys. The game calls them keys, kind of like key gears.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, keys. You have to use keys to get through these little blocks. You can get those keys in a couple of different ways, and that's kind of where the game challenges you. Like, hey, how are you going to get the keys? Are you going to go kill a bunch of enemies and just sort of save up the bones to buy them from the vendor in the city? Or are you going to go out and explore and find keys out in the wild? Are you going to be able to get far enough without a key to make some real progress? So there's a lot of different things that you could do there, depending on where you go and then how you use the resources you get along the way. I struggled quite a bit in that very early part of like, oh my God, which way do I go?
Yeah.
Because I felt like every road was blocked. And then I will say at least once, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then I will say at least once, I actually had to look something up because I thought I got soft.
Stop it.
Because
Light. What are you doing?
Because I thought I got soft locked.
Oh.
Like I thought I had gotten to a part of the game that I quite literally. I'm getting spooked out by one of my bulbs going on and off.
What's going on?
Oh God, is it my electromagnetism? Am I too psychic for this? Okay, there we go. Calm down. Anyways, light aside, I thought that I was completely stuck.
Yeah.
I will say this is one of the perhaps small flaws of the game. I was so stuck because I feel like in that specific case, the environmental hints about something that you were supposed to, about something that you could do, but the game didn't really explain to you, was so unclear.
Oh.
Basically, it was, hey, actually, if you use Mina's burrow over deep water, she can do a very slight swim. That was not clear because as soon as you touch deep water, if you're not burrowing, she dies. So I touched.
How were you supposed to make that connection?
So I walked into the deep water because there's like shallow water.
Yeah.
There's shallow water that she can walk on, and then there's deep water, and you hit the deep water and you immediately die. So I was like, okay, I don't have enough jump like range even with the burrow to make it over these big gaps in the water, so I don't understand how I'm supposed to do this. I do now see the environmental clues that would have told me how to do that, but it was really like I feel easy to miss.
Well, yeah, and if your first experience is, oh, I touch deep water, I die, why would you keep going into it?
Why would I? Especially because I'm only one more fall death away from being dead again, and I have no bones.
Exactly. So it's like, what are we doing here?
So that was a little bit rough. I thought that was a little bit like, I think it was not necessarily bad game design, but I think it could have been a little more obvious. Like there could have been something built in to help lead you to understand that, but there was sort of nothing there. So I had to go to a Reddit thread. It was the exact screen that I thought I was soft locked on, so I know it wasn't just me.
Okay, that's good.
Other people also got there and thought they were stuck. So anyways, the point is Mina can actually swim, air quotes, but only for a little bit, and only if you enter the water in a burrowing dive. Fun fact.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Anyways, so once you start to sort of get those types of game logic and sort of how the game thinks under your belt, it starts to become not necessarily easier, but it does open up a lot more of those exploration paths once you get the game's vibe.
Sure.
Once you get the groove going, once the blood gets flowing down there, you can really find that you can go pretty far. So I think it's a really well done game. The pixel art is not necessarily, the pixel art in cutscenes is absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure that I would call the actual gameplay pixelation beautiful exactly.
Yeah.
Like it is and it isn't. I think
it's like aesthetically for what they're going for.
Yeah, it makes completely sense. But like I would not call it beautiful in the way that the pixel art for kind of any other sort of modern pixel art game is
like
beautiful.
Octopath or something
like Octopath.
Yeah.
Like Octopath's pixel art is beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is like a throwback
nostalgic
nostalgic way.
Yeah, it's a throwback it's pretty. How about that?
Yeah.
One is beautiful and one is cute. One is cute and pretty. But they're all still good. The soundtrack though is phenomenal. The soundtrack is great.
Hell yeah, I need a new soundtrack to listen
that
to.
place that I thought I got soft locked on eventually leads you to the bayou, and the bayou has such a fun soundtrack that loops around. It's like, oh yeah, I love this place. Even though I'm dying every 5 seconds.
You're still like, at least the music's good.
At least the music slaps. I guess I don't mind being stuck here. So game is definitely hard, but something that I thought was fantastic. The game includes, right out of the box, no mods required, a robust, like shockingly expansive list of optional in-game mods.
Oh.
You can either make the game more difficult. Why would you do that? Or you can choose a lot of the options that would make the game much easier. You can reduce the damage that Mina takes. You can even take no damage. Like if you're not there for the combat, you just want to explore, you can turn damage off. You can turn off fall deaths. Like you can you can just walk over pits.
Oh.
You can turn off, like you can not drown if you want to. There are all kinds of different mods that you can do to make the game easier. Some of them are really like batting you over the head with easiness. Others are just a little bit. Like there's one that I might actually turn on where it opens up an additional save point right before a boss fight. And I feel like that one's gonna...
That feels necessary. Even Bloodborne gave you that one. Sometimes.
I haven't turned it on yet, but I'm also not convinced I've actually fought a real boss yet.
Oh boy.
So I'm like, I'm probably gonna need that.
Oh boy.
So I'm just keeping that one in the back pocket. So you can take more damage, less damage. You can make resources more scarce. You can make them more common. There's all different kinds of stuff that the game just tells you, hey, you can do all of this. And it's not like you turn on easy setting and it enables all of them.
Right.
You just pick and choose. You can choose to turn on or off whatever settings you want, and I powerfully commend Yacht Club for making that part of the game. I think that is so good for accessibility. I understand that people love to say, but game is supposed to be hard. That's how they designed it. Hey, actually, you can design it to make it easier for all players that maybe want a different experience.
How about that?
Anyways, I think it's a fantastic game. It was only $20.
Oh, that's cool.
It's only $20 in America. It's only $10 in Panama. And I know that because of Nines. Which, speaking of, that's basically my first impressions of the game in a nutshell, so I do want to read some of the really expansive and good first impressions that Nines wrote. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I will read the highlights. So Nine says, I was super excited about Mina the Hollower, first because it reminded me of the Oracle Zelda games on the Game Boy, and I expected a classic Zelda experience, and second, because it's the same people behind Shovel Knight. It blew away my expectations right away. The presentation is superb with the chiptune music. Fantastic.
Hell yeah, I've got to check that out.
Oh yeah, it's really good. Beautiful pixel art cutscenes sprinkled throughout the adventure, and a familiar top-down perspective mixed with simple but tight controls to attack, dodge, and move. All right, this is one area that I disagree with him on. He says, and move in very intuitive ways. False! I disagree on the intuitive part.
It's actually quite difficult.
Because the swimming was not intuitive specifically. He goes on to say, one of the coolest aspects of the game is all of the movement and combat options you can unlock through exploration. Some of the tools seem useless, the sidearms. Some of the sidearms seem useless until you get creative around their use, mixing and matching trinkets and weapons to change how you can approach the game. Particularly useful for the great variety of enemies and bosses you can encounter. I completely agree with all of that.
Hell yeah.
The only complaint I can think about is the lack of a map. Agree.
Agree.
Yeah, but other than that, the game includes a huge array of settings to raise or lower the difficulty in the form of modifiers, a welcome surprise considering how punishing it can be as a Souls-like experience. Agree in all accounts, except for that one intuitive part.
And it also seems, to harken back to one of our earlier episodes a couple weeks ago, a complete game at launch.
A complete game.
In terms of no bugginess and stuff like that.
Okay, no bugginess, none of that. A complete game at launch, and you know how... Guess how many? Guess how big the file size was. I feel like
it has to be under it's tiny, right?
It was like 850 megabytes.
Okay, I was about to see. I almost said
tiny.
That's less than a gig.
I went to install it. And it was done. And I was like, what? I didn't even get up to get more
You're
water.
like, oh god!
It happened so fast. So game tiny will take up no space on your hard drive. So even if you have Marvel Rivals installed, you still have room for Mina the Hollower. And game finished. You're getting a complete experience right out of the box. I feel like Yacht Club did do DLC for Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. A couple, and then also a sequel?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I feel like they did.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know if they're going to do any of that for Mina the Hollower, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do, especially considering how many copies the game has already sold.
Yeah.
I would bet that some DLC is at least maybe in the planning stages.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I think it's shaping up to be a really good game. It is quite difficult, but again, there are plenty of modifiers for you to choose from to make that a more customized experience. And for $20, I think you should absolutely get it.
It's a steal.
It's a steal, man.
So how long do you think the game is actually going to wind up being?
So I am approximately, like I said, 6 to 9 hours in, and I truly feel like I have made nearly no progress.
Okay, so it's good. It could be a pretty good one, a pretty big game.
Could be pretty good. It could be pretty big. I really have no idea. It's for me, I feel like I'm going to be on a totally different timeline than like Nines is, for example. I think he's already way ahead of me. It's going to take me for fucking ever to catch up. So that'll be on the final review. We'll find out.
Cool.
I don't know yet.
Sounds good. Well, it's awesome that Mina the Hollower said it right this time, is resounding so well with you and everybody else who's playing it so far, and hopefully that you enjoyed the rest of your time with the game as well. So, and good luck. And oh goodness,
Willie has ripping one of her toys to shreds.
Dragon. It is dying. If you're listening to audio only, you are missing out on this game of tug war that's taking place.
She's destroying.
Whilst recording.
What a bad
oh god, she got my fingers.
Oh
god. All right, everybody. Well, with that, I think that finishes up this episode of Team Chat Podcast. If you are also playing Mina the Hollower along with us on the Discord and stuff like that, drop us a message. Let us know what you think of the game as well. You can also send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. But until next time, everybody, I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
We'll see you next time.